Okay, welcome to the lesson today. Today's lesson is for the 7th episode of Elementary. I'm making these episodes along with an ebook to help people learn English. If you're interested in the ebook, it will be available in about a week's time, and it will deal with all the episodes in the first 2 seasons. Now, this vocabulary first is from the 7th episode. There were some good words here. If you talk about gloating, this is when you take pleasure in somebody else's suffering. And so if you enjoy watching someone being tortured or some animal being tortured, you are gloating at that animal when you show your the pleasure in your face. You're gloating at the victim. So it's a very negative word, but it's a good word. To sulk is a word which we would use for children very often, and also for Sherlock in Elementary. It came up in another episode. And it's when a child is not responsive to an adult and just sits there really angry and ignores you basically because they're angry with you. So we would say stop sulking, cheer up. If you are bound, you have your hands tied in some kind of way, tied up. So here the victim's arms were bound behind their back and they had pillows strapped on their heads. So there was a belt on the pillow as well, which was strapped to keep the pillow on their head. So you can talk about straps. Anything which has a strap can be strapped. So a watch is strapped on your arm. Okay, to be reluctant to do something means that you're not keen on doing it. You're going to do it, but you're not keen on doing it. And so maybe a friend is in trouble and they ask you to help them by breaking the law. Well, you might be reluctant to do that because you might think, that doesn't sound like a good idea to me, I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, to be exonerated means to be found not guilty by all of your peers, by all your friends and by all the public. They suddenly realise that you're not guilty of some kind of terrible crime. So if you're exonerated, you're normally acquitted. You're normally set free in some kind of way. If you were put in prison anyway, if there was a miscarriage of justice and you were put in prison, then you are exonerated and set free. Okay, if you are thorough, it means that you pay attention to details. So perhaps students should be thorough in their homework. They should pay attention to all the details. There were some good phrasal verbs. There was own up to, which means admit. So he owned up to killing the man. Bring something up, which means mention. So you could say, I brought this up in the previous lesson. Cover something up means conceal. So I think most criminals will try and cover up their crimes. And set someone up means frame. So for example, if the police plant evidence, if they put a gun or a knife or some drugs in your pocket which you didn't put there, they are framing you. They are setting you up for this particular crime. Now, onto some collocations. If you propose a toast, you might do this at a wedding, and it's when you say, I'd like to make a toast to the bride and groom, and you'd perhaps say a few kind words about these people and wish them some luck, and then raise your glass and have a drink. If you cut to the chase, you get straight to the point. It means that you don't beat around the bush, which is here. This is an idiom which means never to talk about the important stuff, but always to talk about the trivial and unimportant stuff, and never to get directly to the point. Yeah, so get straight to the point, cut to the chase. You might say it when somebody is rambling on, when they're droning on about nothing. You might say, hey, cut to the chase, get straight to the point. Uncanny and striking similarities. Well, some striking similarities are two things which are very similar, and uncanny similarities means that they were strange or odd or remarkable or surprising in some kind of way. Uncanny can even mean scary. Now, commute a sentence means to reduce a sentence. So if a criminal has a very long sentence and his sentence is commuted, that means that it is reduced in some kind of way. We've done plant evidence because it's when the police put some kind of evidence to frame you, to set you up. And if you are put into police custody, it just means you're put into a police cell. The police now have custody of you. So it's when you are under suspicion of committing a crime, then you will be put into police custody. Now, the grammar from this episode, which I want to talk about, is perfect gerund and infinitive. I've got a lot of videos on this, about 3 different lessons on this. So if you want more information, see those lessons. They're linked in this video. So please look at these situations when we use having and the third form, which is the perfect gerund, after prepositions, after certain verbs, as subject. Now, all of this is in my gerunds and infinitives course as well, because that's when we use gerunds, after prepositions, after certain verbs, and as subject of the sentence. We use perfect infinitive in the infinitive situation, so after adjectives, after certain verbs, in passive constructions, and that's a little bit different for to have and the third form, and also in third conditional. And I'll give you a quick example. So if I could say, if I had gone to university, it would have been great. Or I could say, to have gone to university would have been great. To have gone to university would have been great. Instead of saying, if I had gone. And that's how we can use it in third conditional. I thought I'd give you a quick example, because there isn't one here on the test. So here's a little test. Try and use having and the third form, or to have and the third form in these sentences using vocabulary from the show. So the culprit is believed, and I want you to use the word to bind, like bound being the third form. So the culprit is believed to have bound their arms behind their back. To have bound. Why is it to plus have and the third form? Because of certain passive constructions. This is a passive construction, is believed. So the culprit is believed to have bound their arms behind their backs. Number 2, we're going to use the word note, that's the verb, to note, and several striking similarities. Holmes claimed the crimes were indelibly linked. Now, I hope you can see that this really is the subject of the sentence, and it's what happened earlier before Holmes claimed the crimes were indelibly linked. Now, this is exactly when we use perfect gerund. So we need to say, having noted several striking similarities, he claimed that the crimes were indelibly linked. Okay, Holmes claimed in his investigation, and we're using be thorough. Now, claim is very common for the perfect infinitive, and so you should straight away know with claim it's always perfect infinitive, it's never perfect gerund, it's a certain verb. So he claimed to have been thorough. Quite a mouthful. He claimed to have been thorough in his investigation. Okay, number 4, Gregson hoped him in custody by the end of the day. So we're using this verb here. Gregson hoped to have put. Now again, hope is a to plus have plus third verb. It's an infinitive verb. Yeah, you say hope to do, hope to go, hope to do something, and you don't say hope doing. So it's hope to have put him in custody by the end of the day. Number 5, the suspect was accused of. Now we've got a preposition. You can see prepositions here, having in the third form. So, having killed. He was accused of having killed him, but later exonerated and acquitted. There we go. It has a happy ending. Number 6, the perpetrator seems, and we're using have, an accomplice. So, seem is a verb like claim. It's very often used with to and have in the third form. So, to plus have plus had. Third form, yeah? To plus have plus third form. He seems to have had an accomplice. Okay, number 7, you can see seem again, but I want you to look at this word, because that's kind of like an adjective. Here it's being used as an adjective. He seemed relieved. Now, after adjectives, we always use to have in the third form. It's always to plus infinitive. So he seemed relieved to have owned up to his crimes, to have admitted his crimes. He seemed relieved to have owned up to his crimes. And number 8, it's the subject again, so you should straight away know it's having. Of course it is. Having discovered. Yeah, this is what happened first. Having discovered that the police had planted evidence, Sherlock went to speak to Gregson. Okay, I hope that's all clear. Please follow this series and go to my website and have a look at the PDF. I've got an example on my website of what kind of questions and vocab are in it. If you're interested in learning English this way, please do. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Please give it a like if you have done. Oh, I feel like my voice is a little bit hoarse now, so I'm going to give it a rest, and I hope to see you all soon.